LNG Fact Check is devoted to setting the record straight regarding the safety, environmental, and economic impacts of liquefied natural gas and Weaver's Cove Energy's proposed offshore berth in Mount Hope Bay and onshore LNG storage facility in Fall River. Weaver's Cove has observed Mr. Jonathan Stone making statements about our project that we do not agree with and that do not mesh with the facts as we know them. This video is intended to present the facts with regards to statements made by Mr. Stone in recent public forums. Mr. Stone claims Weaver's Cove, quote, has not agreed to dredge during seasonal periods where the dredge impacts will be minimized, unquote.
The company has not agreed to dredge during seasonal periods where the dredge impacts will be minimized. The company is pressing ahead with their proposal to dredge 12 months, year in, year out, over a 2-year period.
Mr. Stone's claim has no basis in fact. Weaver's Cove filed its application for the offshore berth project with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, on January 30th, 2009. While dredge windows are discussed throughout the application, one only needs to look to page 15 of Resource Report 1. On that page, despite Mr. Stone's claim to the contrary, Weaver's Cove commits in no uncertain terms to conduct dredging in the seasonal periods where dredge impacts will be minimized. The application states, quote, dredging, trenching, and backfilling in the lower Taunton River, north of the Braga Bridge, is proposed to be limited to the 2.5-month period from November 1 through January 14 of any year. Dredging, trenching, and backfilling in Mount Hope Bay will be limited to the 5.5-month period from August 1 through January 14 of any year. Mr. Stone should be well aware of Weaver's Cove's commitment to dredge during seasonal windows because Save the Bay staff members are signed up for FERC e-service. This means that Save the Bay was notified via email that the offshore berth project application was filed and available for download via the FERC website. Save the Bay should have known more than 1 year before Mr. Stone made his claims to the Swansea Board of Selectmen that Weaver's Cove had, in fact, committed to abide by seasonal dredge windows. Mr. Stone was also made aware of Weaver's Cove's commitment to abide by dredge windows in an August 3, 2009 letter sent to Mr. Stone by Gordon Shearer, CEO of Hess LNG. As an attachment to the August 3rd letter, Weaver's Cove provided a copy of our July 20, 2009 updated impact mitigation proposal. The second paragraph of that proposal reaffirms Weaver's Cove's commitment to abide by seasonal dredge windows. The document states, quote, to avoid impacts during construction to winter flounder, anadromous fish, and other species, Weaver's Cove proposes to conduct dredging activities within the windows recommended by a number of agencies. Dredging in the lower Taunton River, north of the Braga Bridge, will be limited to the 2.5-month period from November 1 through January 14th of any year. Dredging in Mount Hope Bay will be limited to the 5.5-month period from August 1 through January 14 of any year. Mr. Stone may choose to ignore or distort the facts, but the simple truth is that Weaver's Cove is committed to dredge only during seasonal windows. Mr. Stone suggests that the Coast Guard has precluded Weaver's Cove from bringing LNG ships in at night.
The U.S. Coast Guard has indicated in a letter of recommendation that they issued this past summer that these vessels cannot enter at night. They must enter during daylight hours.
Mr. Stone has the facts wrong. When asked about nighttime transits for Weaver's Cove, the Coast Guard said, quote, there is no plan to restrict LNG vessel transits to daytime only. Weaver's Cove would prefer to bring LNG ships in at night and will seek approval from the pilots and the Coast Guard to do so. We're optimistic that we will obtain approvals for night transits, a fact Mr. Stone seems to suggest is impossible. It is not only possible, it is consistent with current industry practice as LNG ships calling on Boston and LPG ships calling on Providence conduct nighttime transits. This fact is confirmed by this photo, taken by Weaver's Cove on March 22, 2010, that shows an LNG ship arriving in Boston Harbor at night. Mr. Stone suggests that the Coast Guard will apply an exclusion zone to all LNG ships.
The second thing is the Coast Guard, in force today in Narragansett Bay, has a security regime around to protect hazardous cargoes. Providence has a liquefied propane terminal, and we receive 4 to 6 vessels a year of liquefied propane. The Coast Guard enforces a exclusion zone around these vessels, and that exclusion zone will be applied to these LNG tankers.
Once again, Mr. Stone has the facts wrong. When asked about safety and security zones, the Coast Guard stated, quote, "Federal regulations for Narragansett Bay at 33 CFR 165.121 require a security zone of 2 miles ahead, 1 mile astern, and 1,000 yards on either side of a high-interest vessel, which includes LNG tankers. But security zones are not necessarily exclusion zones, and vessels may transit within a security zone or continue business within a security zone, such as fishing or clamming, with the permission of the captain of the port.